It's been a long time since my last effort upload, 1 year to be exact. I present you a JToH tower building video. I had many problems to overcome to concentrate on building this tower. And in this series, you will watch the difficult process of building the tower. Also, I want to get a dark red row, so let's start our long and uneasy journey. All towers start with planning. You need to come up with a theme and name for the tower, difficulty and mechanics. I started my planning after I finished one of my towers, which is Tower of Penultimate Nostalgia. Several days passed, but I still couldn't think of anything, and I decided to take a rest because my thoughts were weighing me down too much. At the time when I was thinking about the tower's theme, a geometry dash level called Change of Scene released. This level is very cool and I really liked it. There is one moment here where you get into a simulation inside the Matrix. Take a look at it. This part stood out to me the most, so the idea flashed through my mind. Hey, let me make a tower out of this. This made it easier for me to think about the theme of the tower. Before going to bed, an idea came to me, so I decided to draw it so I wouldn't forget it the next day. This drawing was made at May 9th, 2023. And on May 10th, I started working on the tower. But all that remains is to come up with a normal name for the tower. This time I didn't have to think of it for long. And the official name of the tower is Tower of Ascension to Matrix. The first half will be without any theme, and the second will be inside the Matrix. That's all my planning done. Now it's time to start building. Now that I have all the ideas, it's time to implement them. First I needed to make a frame, not too basic and not too complex. I ended up making a frame that has glass on all sides. Basically the first half has a vibrant gradient and the second is pure black. The halves are separated by a huge portal spinner. The frame is ready, now we can start building the gameplay. I will build floors according to my one main principle. To make the tower longer and to make it look filled, I will split the floor into 2 layers. I will make button hand at the beginning of the tower. You need to get 4 buttons to progress. I added some basic mechanics like flips and vines. And of course, to add more variety, I will add a lot of custom mechanics. In the first floor, I will introduce only 2 new mechanics. First one is float zones. This mechanic does not interact with the player in any way, but it does affect the pushboxes, causing them to fly in a certain direction. And the second mechanic is really one of the most interesting ones, so I'll show you it later. So we're finished with the first layer of the first floor, let's start building the second layer. First layer of floor 1 had a lot of polishing, so take a look how clean it is now. The second layer won't be that long, since I plan on doing some cool mechanics in it. I added another float zone obstacle, where a pushbox flies through my pipe and you have to jump on it. And after that, a filler conveyor thing. I came up with a cool exposure part, where you have to flip to avoid the walls. As exposure is going back, you have to flip and make it to the end. I indicated where to flip with green parts. However, they looked somewhat dry, so I changed their material to force field. After that, I added some filler purism. And finally, another new mechanic, a gravity button. If you press it, your gravity will temporarily change. There are 2 types of this button. Arrow. Where the arrow points, that's where gravity will go. And pause. It pauses the gravity. I use the pause gravity button first. you need to get to the other side of the floor. This mechanic is pretty cool and can serve as a good transition. Also, since this mechanic allows you to freely fly around the tower, I had to add an anti-cheese. And after all that, I thought it's enough for floor 1, so I added more filler purism until floor 2. I had a lot of cool ideas for gameplay and new mechanics, so I decided to put them all in this flow. I haven't put spinners in this tower yet, so here's the first one. I put a very necessary cross that showed you that you were going in the wrong direction. This totally wasn't used in like hundreds of towers, right? Anyways, I just ran out of gameplay ideas, so I had a lot of cool ideas for gameplay. Anyways, I just ran out of gameplay ideas, so I added a random client object obstacle. And that's disappearing platform. More usage of float zones, and this one is actually pretty epic. I made a pushbox mechanism which looks like this. Not really complicated. Pushboxes progressively fly out of the pipe, and you need to jump on them. You need to be fast in order to pass this section. Right after that, I added more purism. Let's have a quick time lapse on how to make sorta good purism. Add this wall here to make player do more camera movements. Put a cylinder to this wall so the wrap feels smoother. Rotate this platform because for some reason it makes the jump better. I think that platform looks too lame, so let's make it with wedges instead. A wrap, but you have to land on this cool looking platform. And finally, this cool jump, I don't know how to describe it, just take a look. And that's how it looks. Yo, finally a new mechanic. It isn't anything special though. It's just a flip block that teleports you. I made it so I could use it as a transition between parts, but later I will use it in gameplay. And here we have another gravity button, this time arrow one. I added some structures around it, so you can choose. You just have to flip through the wall in this gravity button section. I decided to add another disappearing platform as a filler. I had some doubts about the next section because it seems too advanced for a challenging tower. Nonetheless, I still kept it because it was very cool. No jump area was introduced, the most common mechanic in the world. I don't have much to say about the section, so let's move on. The first layer of floor 2 was finally finished. I used the gravity button that makes you fly up to layer 2. I put some more purism over here, including this cool truss climb with wedge above. And finally, first battle of the tower, where you have to destroy pushboxes from touching block in the center. If you fail to do so, you will have to restart it. I just stole this from Undertale, from Undying Battle. It's quite janky, but I'm too lazy to fix. I liked gravity button so much, so I put another one in here. You have to fly through small spaces this time. I introduced new mechanic, just a morpher platform. When you touch it, platform takes shape of wide outline. I put pushbox float zone obstacle, but you have to speed run with no jump area. Just spawn pushbox and make it to the other side in time to jump on pushbox and leap to the platform. It's pretty lenient though, so you have plenty of time. This no jump section went through a bunch of nerfs and changes. Yet another new mechanic, but it's unique this time. It interacts only with pushboxes like float zones, however inside them pushboxes have no gravity. In my opinion, this mechanic has a lot of potential. And of course, I goofed around with this mechanic like shown above for 2 hours. I came up with a mini puzzle by combining Exposure, Zero Gravity Zone and Morpher. It gives you a button progress, with which you are able to skip entirety of layer 2.
The most filler button activated gameplay in the galaxy.
Oops, voice crack, my bad. Anyways, you spawn the pushbox which flaps from a pipe, jump on it and ride to the top. After that you have to jump on a block which is inside Zero Gravity Zone. And with that being said, floor 2 is completely finished. First layer of floor 3 would be puzzles. In the first one you have to rotate the platform, and the ball inside should press 2 buttons. I made it using tilting platform from kit. And the second puzzle is the one that I really like. You have to rotate the cannon and shoot 4 buttons in order to progress. Just make sure that you shoot buttons and nothing else.
What the fuck?
So basically you can rotate the cannon, fire the projectile and reload it. This puzzle is actually reused from my old tower, Pillar of Wacky Ideas. I made this contraption way back in 2021, and then added it to this tower with some rework functionality. If you want to know how this works, then I'm going to briefly explain it. Reload spawns a pushbox in cannon. Launch deactivates a block beneath pushbox and it falls on an elevator. After hitting all 4 buttons you can make your way to layer 2. After finishing first layer of floor 3, I decided to take a short break from building this tower. I was boosting my skill by beating Warsaw crashing towers, or just start building brand new projects. But as I returned to building this tower, I felt a really deep demotivation. Something inside me told me that everything I've built here is just a waste of time. Every time I replayed this tower, it felt less and less impressive. As I felt like actually returning to building this tower, I remembered that Zone 9 slots confirmations would be soon, so I thought there really is no point in continuing this. Racing against deadlines is the thing I hate the most. I had no hopes on this passing the review, it literally looks like the most average tower. At some point I thought attempting to make a tower for JToH is pointless. I avoided this tower as much as I could. Opening this tower's place in studio made me feel somewhat hopeless. Since all my current finished towers have unoriginal gameplay, either recapping it from different towers or using other people's ideas, I couldn't come up with my own original gameplay for a while. I couldn't build anything fresh and new. Many months have passed, and still no new progress has been made. I've always wanted to have my tower in whitelist, but I did absolutely nothing for it. After 10 months of zero progress, I finally returned to building this tower. I polished first 2 floors and revamped some sections. You can easily notice how different this tower becomes starting from second layer of floor 3. Anyways, I introduced 2 new mechanics again. First being a simple double jump, which I stole from Zach's ToATM. By the way, as you can see, everything looks much more detailed than on the first 2 floors. I had no idea how to use zero gravity area here, and this is what I came up with. And another new mechanic, Flip Swing. That's basically a blocker swinger custom clan object, but made with Vine. When you flip, you temporarily ragdoll, which makes you swing around. Here we have a gravity button section, where you have to fly around this big cylinder. Of course, with some obstacles you have to dodge. A combination of morpher platform, double jump and float zone. I'm afraid that this could be way too complex for a challenging tower. The rest of the floor is just 2 puzzles, both involved with zero gravity areas. In the first one you have pushbox and shower. You have to get pushbooks inside this shower, so it presses the button over here. I guarantee that this puzzle has no issues and is completely... The second puzzle is very confusing at first. No jump area combined with zero gravity area. So you spawn a pushbox inside this X pusher, then push it till the end. Then you do a no jump obby, and after that there's a gravity button. You fly and press the button that activates the hammer, which hits the pushbox and the pushbox flies up. Pressing the button on top that takes you to floor 4. Sounds really complicated, don't you think? Fear not, it's as simple as that. Let me make myself very clear. Wait, now I have a sudden urge to eat a seafood. Anyways, let me make this clear using a visual demonstration. Also, I forgot to show how first puzzle works, so take a look. Things only get crazier from here. This floor is definitely one of my favorites. I'm at a big curvy wall with Archimedes, containing camera control jumps. Yet again, I hope this isn't too hard for challenging difficulty. Another usage of flip swings, this time combined with the gravity button. You have to react fast in order to pass this. The gravity button pauses your gravity. You need to fly and dodge obstacles. This jump is cool but could be unsight readable. Also, I noticed you can skip like half of this floor using gravity button. Yikes! I quickly fixed that by adding invisible button activated barriers. New mechanic! This is a really cool one. As you touch this wall, you start gliding on it, and you can dismount anytime you want. Enzo, please don't sue me. After that, I built this section, which is so confusing that I hate it. I have a challenge for you. Try to guess what you're required to do here. Time's up. Explanation time. Double jump to here, touch morpho platform, jump on activated platforms, and perform a walk around there. If you guessed it right, congratulations, you won nothing. Since my structuring is so crazy, I hope there are no crazy skips. Oh, well, that isn't so bad. Just a small section can be skipped. Wait, no, that was like 80% of the... I will be honest, I'm too lazy to fix these skips, so let's continue. I'm already going crazy with wall glides. I present you a triple wall glide. No safety nets, you are on your own. I left some empty space in the center of floor, so I can make a puzzle in it. This puzzle is inspired by Cut the Rope, one of the best childhood games. Anyways, it wasn't an easy task to make a puzzle like that, but after a lot of trial and error, I finally made it. And finally, layer 2 of floor 4.
Who's that Pokemon?
This jump was never seen in other towers. So jumps here are just filler, though it took me 30 minutes to make them. I use trusses quite rarely, so I built a gameplay with a few of them. Another instance of float zones, this time you have to dodge walls. I am thinking of nerfing this section because I feel like it's awkward in its current state. At the end of the section you need to jump to this button and press gravity button. The gravity button is faced right, and as you fly through there are some cubics you have to avoid. Then you quickly stick to a wall glide and dismount here. You spawn a pushbox cup and complete this frustrating looking maze. Yet again I reused this from my very old creation, which is a mini tower. Its name is partially a tower. Not only I reused this section, but I made it less junky as well. You have to press a button with this pushbox to progress. Once you do so, backtrack to the start of this section. Then there's an interesting combination of flip swing and flow zone. You spawn a pushbox in a float zone and you need to knock it down into a button using a flip swing. To avoid confusion for the player, a flip indicator was made. I wanted to fill an empty space with decorations, but I couldn't come up with a good structure, so I put this instead. Pretty random usage of client objects before last puzzle of floor 4. This puzzle is quite difficult to understand at first glance. In fact, it is quite easy, and the mechanism can be explained as a train that goes through its stops. You need to align the destination so that the pushbox presses all 3 buttons. It took me 1 to 2 hours to make because it was super buggy. And that's how we came to an end of the first episode. I have always wanted to make a tower that would meet today's curating standards. I decided to start the series to show how hard it is to make a worthy tower. This is my first time experiencing with this video style, so I'm sorry if this video was somewhat dry. Now the question is, when will the second part come out? I have no idea, because this video took me 2 months to edit, not including the building process. Episode 2 will include floors 5, 6 and 7. Who knows, maybe this tower won't even pass, but if so, then I must try to make it as good as possible. Now I want to thank you, viewer, for watching this to the end. Even if you skipped most of it, you still paid attention to my hard work rather than simply ignoring it. I want to make something impactful on JToH content creating. I have nothing else to say, so I'll show you a sneak peek of floor 5.